Hey there, my name is Phil, and welcome to That Dang Dad. What's the meaning of all this? Well, this week my wife and I just had our first child. I had a daughter. Her name is Lilith, or Little Wiggler, as I call her, because she is little and she wiggles a lot. But anyway, because I have to kind of stay up late at night and help with the feedings and the diaper changes and stuff like that, I find myself with a lot of time on my hands all of a sudden. And I thought it might be kind of fun to chat with you all about just kind of the things that I'm reading and thinking about late at night, just kind of the stuff that's helping me stay awake in between feedings and whatnot. The reason I'm kind of doing this is that I'm really into this video essay renaissance that we're living through right now. And one thing that I really appreciate about them is that while I don't always agree with the ideas that they have or the things that they're advocating for, they always make me think about things in new ways and kind of stimulate new ideas. And they sort of entice me to do my own research and to see things from a new perspective. And so I thought that might be kind of fun for some of the stuff that I'm interested in right now. So anyway, this being my first video, this kind of our first interaction together, I thought I might open it up with a little confession. I was not super excited about having a child. I don't hate kids. I just kind of never looked around at my situation and thought, what would go cool right now would be like a little human that I have to keep alive. That would really kind of tie the room together. It's just not something that I ever really thought, So, I'm happy and I'm glad that we have a healthy new baby and stuff like that. But questions are trickling in like, is everything different? Is your entire existence completely upended? And, to be honest, right now, not yet, not really. And in my defense, baby Lilith doesn't do anything right now. She eats, she sleeps, she poops. That's it. On the other hand, though, I realize that Lilith very much feels like an other in my life right now. We feed her every 3 hours, we take care of her, we comfort her, we monitor the frequency and consistency and texture of her poops.
Yuck.
But, other than that, she doesn't feel like somebody that I have a tight relationship with right now. But, when you think about the other, capital O, other, it can mean a lot of different things in a lot of different contexts. There's a sociologist named Zygmunt Bauman. He talked about how societies organize themselves in terms of, others. He said, woman is the other of man, animal is the other of human, stranger is the other of native, abnormality is the other of norm, deviation is the other of law-abiding, illness is the other of health, and so on. Slavoj Žižek has all kinds of different things to say about the other, but this, I claim, is impossible for me to sort of apprehend and to express to other people, and so on, and so on. So for me, when I'm thinking about the other, I think a lot about in-group, out-group behavior. I grew up in a very super religious, fundamentalist Church of Christ. Very aware of who's in, who's out, who's a sinner, who's not, I poke fun at that a lot, but, all of modern life is like that. We're all like that with political parties and ideologies and things like that. I don't know who you are, person watching this, but I like to think you're probably a pretty good, compassionate person, and I think that you and I, deep down, we genuinely want to be cool with other people. We genuinely want to connect with other people. But, it can be kind of seductive sometimes to see the other and think like, to see them in a bad situation and think, oh, well, they deserve it because they're bad choices, or they brought this on themselves or whatever. Or, I have to take care of my family. I can't take care of everyone else's family. It's kind of a seductive thought process, and that got me thinking about, I think that's why these sorts of radical encounters with the other are really interesting to me. And I think that's a lot of why people find it very stimulating to live in like a big city. because you have all these little collisions and intersections with people that are very different from you when you live in kind of a dense urban environment. And I think it's very stimulating for a lot of people. Those of us like myself that live in the suburbs, I don't have these frequent encounters with the other, and so that really, for me, I struggle to connect with the other in my day-to-day life. I struggle to make myself emotionally available and things like that. So back to my child over here, rightly or wrongly, I have this little other living in my house right now. And whether I like it or not, and don't worry, it's growing on me, she needs me. To some extent, my very precious feelings about everything are immaterial. I have a human being who relies on me to survive. And I'm kind of contending right now with the sense that this is a radical encounter with the other in the same way that maybe people in big metro areas have. It's kind of a microcosm of that. And it kind of jives with this other philosopher, a guy named Emmanuel Levinas. I think Levinas. I don't know. It's one of those book words, He wrote a whole dang book called Time and the Other, in which he says, the other is what I myself am not. The other is the weak, the poor, the widow, the orphan. There's a scholar, M.L. Morgan, who clarifies that to Levinas, your otherness is a brute fact made up of you being poor while I'm rich. Your need and my capacity to respond to your need. In another work, Levinas actually says that an encounter with the other confronts me with a choice to support her living or to let her die. In the case of my daughter, especially if there's any cops watching, of course I support her living. I love her and I want her to thrive. But if my daughter is an other, that makes me think about all the other others out in the world. What about the other in my own community on the opposite side of town from me? If we take Zygmunt Bauman's definition of deviation as the other of law-abiding and illness as the other of health, what about the other in prison? What about the other in a mental hospital? What about the other who's sick or disabled and needs extra help, needs something from me? In the same way that my daughter confronts me with the choice to support her living, these others confront me with kind of the same choice. Do I support them living? Do I let them die? And what's a no-brainer for my daughter becomes a complicated question when it comes to these others out in the world. And I hope you didn't come here hoping I had an answer to that, because I super don't. That's what this channel is, kind of for me, is stuff that I'm thinking about here in the hour of the wolf, in between feedings and diaper changes. So what do you think about all that? I mean, what is our responsibility to the capital O other, How do we reconcile our willingness to support some people living and allowing others to die? I mean, that's a pretty heavy fucking question, don't you think? So anyway, why don't you shoot me a comment about that? Tell me what you think. Or you can hit me up on Twitter at thatdangphil. I'm over there jaw-jacking about whatever. And then, if this sort of gimmick works for you, hearing my late night thoughts, a subscription would thrill me to no end. So, what do they say? Smash that subscribe button or whatever. I don't think they're all going to be this heavy every week. This was just kind of the big thing that I was thinking about now that my daughter is here, and I'm sort of navigating my own feelings about that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope that was interesting for you, and I will catch you next time. Good night.